Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the long hiatus as always. Seems to always happen. Thought I'd just give an update on things and just kind of tell you where my language levels are these days. So I don't really practice languages that much anymore. The problem is I have too many interests is the main problem. Like I play guitar, I play drums, I play keyboard, I like to program, I was working on my chess game. I also have a YouTube channel about coding. Of course, I always, really like languages, find them really interesting. Just less of my time is spent on that these days than it was before. That doesn't mean I've, forgotten all the languages I learned. Of course not. But they do generally decrease the less you use them. Just go through my language level. So Russian, when I learned Russian, I learned Russian for about 2 to 3 years at the start. And my level was probably the best at that point. It's kind of just gotten less good after that point. You basically just got to maintain it. But because when I was learning it, I was basically reading books, watching TV series, having conversations, and the progress is very quick when you do this. I was also I would write a text in English, translate it into Russian, have a friend check it, give me the mistakes, and I could learn how to say things in a natural way. That's something I never really... The thing about Russian is, it's just very different to English. And the way people say stuff is just weird, honestly. It's hard for me to find an example. But say I would say something in a certain way. To a Russian person, it just sounds kind of weird. And I just can't really feel it. I can kind of memorize phrases. I'll give you an example. There's this phrase in Russian, "что ли," which you basically use it to mean or something in English, which is basically how I translate it. It's like if you say, what, are you tired or something? In Russian you say, "Ты устал, что ли?" It's just "что ли," it's just, I understand it to mean or something. And people say, "Oh my god, how do you know how to use that phrase so how do you know how to use that phrase so naturally?" I just understand or something is what we say in English. I mean, it's just just memory. That's all it is. So you can kind of fool people thinking, "Oh, look, I'm so advanced," but it's just linking it to an English phrase that we already use and sounds natural. But stuff like how to structure the sentences, which word order to use, I don't know. I don't know this stuff. I can't feel it, and it would take me so much time to basically get to the level where I could feel it. And so yeah, I never really bothered, and I just kind of accepted my Russian's going to be a certain level. I didn't really want to get it to C2 is never really realistic, honestly. I'd never be able to get it to that. But I'm kind of just, it's okay where it is. And plus, I always understand stuff. I could watch a whole video in Russian on YouTube or a film. I basically understand everything if I know the words, and not a problem. But it's just only a problem when I try to speak. When I try to speak, it's always harder. It's always harder to speak. You always understand more words than you can say, because even if you don't know a word, a lot of the time, if you know the words around it, you can guess the meaning, which is what you can do most of the time. Alright, so obviously then I learned Italian. I learned Italian for probably, 1 to 2 years. Of course, I've been to Italy many times. But again, going to Italy many times, the problem is you can be very lazy just being in the country. You can be very lazy. Some people say that you kind of need to travel to learn a language. I disagree with this because, for example, you're in Italy, right? You go to the shops and buy something. Pick it up. You go to the cashier. You pay for it. You say... they say, for example, vuoi un sacchetto? Vuoi un sacchetto? You say, no, no grazie. You give them money, and you say, grazie, ciao. That's it. Did I really practice Italian? No. You didn't practice Italian. Same in a restaurant. You don't really, unless you have a conversation with unless you have a conversation with the waiter, you're not really M plus conversation. Basically, what you need is a friend to talk to, and then you can have an hour-long conversation. That's where you actually practice. But if you just live there, and you don't talk to anyone, you don't really practice that much. So I practice more in England having calls with Italian people than I did actually in Italy, unless I had conversations with people. So anyway, but my Italian level, it's weird. I mean, my Italian level is probably the same as my Russian level, really, but I'd say Italian is just easier than Russian. I mean, the main problems I have in Italian was mainly words have too many meanings. They're really annoying. Mostly like 3 or 4 words, really annoying. And gender. Gender's just terrible in Italian. The main reason is, so if it ends in O, it's masculine. Ends in A, it's feminine. If it ends in E, I have no idea, and I really can't be bothered to learn it. So if I say chiese, like for example, I don't know. I can't even think of any words right now. For example, you have like carne, you have fiore, you have neve. I don't know. I just, like, some of them I know, like il fiore, I know it's it's memory. But if I say a word that ends in E, I have no idea what the gender is, and I can't be bothered. Like, I don't really care what sexual private parts you imagine in your brain about a word. I can't read your mind, and I just don't care enough, basically, so I just get it wrong. That's basically what my mentality is. I don't care. But other than that, yeah, I don't really have any problems in Italian. I barely even practice it. Like, I don't really need to. I guess because I've just talked enough. I don't really need to practice it that much, and I can kind of stop. So I can stop listening to Italian for 3 months. I just like listen to a podcast or something, and then I can just talk again. It just comes back pretty quickly. But this depends how high the level you got to. If you got to about B1 A2, and then you stop for loads of months, you're going to forget lots of things. But if you get to about B2 C1, that level, where you can actually have conversations, understand people, it decreases a lot slower, basically. And then there's Spanish, and Spanish is my worst language by far. My Spanish is garbage. It's completely terrible. Most of the time I just use Italian just to kind of... It's not the same. They're very different, though, is the problem. There's also pretty funny things where you can say, for example, say an Italian is in a shop in Spain, and they say, burro, voglio burro. Something like this. The thing is, burro in Italian means butter. Burro in Spanish means donkey. So it's like, I want a donkey. I want a, it doesn't work. Obviously, there's similar words, and there's also very different words. So, yeah, I mean, you get confused. I mean, for example, I think I gave this example in other videos. But if you say, for example, in Italian, si... I'm trying to remember the difference right now. Yeah, okay. So, si means yourself. Se means if. And in Spanish, se means yourself. And si means if. Which is the most confusing in the world. The most confusing thing in the world if you know Italian and Spanish. And you got to remember, what is if? What was oneself? I don't remember. So I'm speaking Italian. Do I use si or do I use se? And when I'm speaking Spanish, do I say si or do I say se? I don't remember. Like, if I really think about it, I can kind of remember. Okay, so yeah, se is if in Italian. Si, but it's like, do I really have time to think about this when I'm having a conversation? Probably not. So it's like, Italian helps to speak Spanish, but also it doesn't help to speak Spanish because of all the false friends that exist. So yeah, it's a mess. And plus because my brain doesn't know Spanish as well, it wants to go into something it does know, so it goes straight into Italian, and that word doesn't exist in Spanish sometimes, so it's not great. Plus there's the ever enduring annoyance of estar and ser in Spanish, which drives me insane. I'll never get it, never understand it, always get it wrong, no matter how much I think about it. Basically it's like estar is to be, but temporary. Ser is to be, but permanent. So if you say soy un doctor, say soy un profesor, estoy bien. That kind of thing. Like, I'm a doctor, I am good. Estoy bien because it's now temporary. But when you're talking, it's so hard to think about this stuff, honestly. So because I never really got to the really high level in Spanish, it's about B1, kind of halfway to B2. it doesn't really improve that much. Plus, I mean, so when I first started learning Spanish, it was like I read a lot, I played games in it, I watched TV series, and then talked a little bit. But also, I mean, another problem in Spanish, I can't understand people. People just speak so fast in Spanish. Like, I never have this problem in Russian or Italian, unless someone's from Rome. If someone's from Rome, there's no point in me even trying to talk to them in Italian. But everyone else, it's normally fine. But if... So, people from Argentina, I don't understand. People from Uruguay, I don't understand. People from Andalusia in southern Spain, I don't understand. People from Malaga, I don't understand. Some people from Madrid, I don't understand, because they speak so ridiculously fast. I don't have this problem in any other language, so it's a Spanish thing. And because I can't understand stuff, I just get demotivated a lot of the time. People send me voice messages, I was like, wait, I have to listen to the voice message like 3 or 4 times, try to write it and then guess, or I will just take the file and just give it to an AI to transcribe it for me and then read that, because I can't understand everything. I only have this problem in Spanish. So it kind of demotivates me. So yeah, so because my level in Spanish isn't as high as the others, it does decrease quicker. So then I did actually try to learn Chinese, which went as well as you can imagine. So I mean, my accent in Chinese isn't too bad actually, but I basically know nothing, and it's like A0. So I know, like, I know the tones, for example, if I can remember them. It's like ma, 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 kind of like that. I don't even remember if it's like, so you have like the high tone, you have the rising tone, you have the low to rising tone, you have the low to rising tone, and then you have the falling tone. So I can't remember, and then there's like the one that doesn't have a tone. I don't know, I'm not really an expert, but I can say like basic stuff. Say like 我叫 Tom. I guess I am Tom. Ooh, look at me, I'm fluent. Or you or you could say 我是老师, I am a teacher. But I don't know much after other than that. I mean, the main problem in Chinese is I like to read to learn. That's my main way to do it. And you can't really read Chinese as a beginner. So you have 2 options. You have Pinyin, which is the Latinized Chinese. You can do that if you want. But the problem is, at a certain point, you have to kind of switch over to the characters, because no one writes in Pinyin if it's advanced stuff. So either you're reading only beginner materials in Pinyin, and then you have to kind of switch over. But when do you switch over? Do you learn everything in Pinyin and then switch over later? I thought I should probably just start with the characters and convert the characters over to Pinyin so I can read them. But this leads to another problem where I need to basically say I want to read a text, right? I want to read a text. But I don't know how to read the text because it's in the symbols, and I don't know how to read the symbols because I'm a beginner. So I basically have to go through and get every transcription of every character and save them in the definition using the program I used, Learning with Texts. But that's not all, because sometimes you have compound words. So what they use a lot in Chinese is compound words. So if you want to say, for example, I don't even remember how that exactly works. I just remember the pattern. If you want to say my in Chinese, I believe you say I plus something else. But I don't remember what that is, so I'm going to look it up now. Yeah, so I remember the pattern, I just don't remember the word. So if you want to say my, you say 我的, which is literally like I, and then like a possessive, I don't even know what it is. It's like particle, I guess is what it is. So so my isn't a word. I plus another word is my, so it's a compound word. And this happens all the time in Chinese. So I don't know what a compound word and what isn't. So I basically have to look for the individual one and then look to see if it's a compound word using Google Translate normally. If you look at Google Translate, you can link them together and it shows them as one word. Oh, okay, that's 2 words, so I get both of them, link them together, and also got to get them individually. So say I want to read a text that's literally like 3 paragraphs. So I want to read a text that's literally like 3 paragraphs. It will take me 20 minutes getting the characters. And then I just think, can I really be bothered to read it at this point? Like, I've just spent 20 minutes looking for characters in a dictionary, looking for the transcriptions of the characters in a dictionary. and I just lose motivation and then just go do something else. It's like it's one of those tedious things where it just takes a long time. Of course, I mean, at a certain point, it would get to the point where I'd have most of the characters, and it would be a lot quicker. It's just the start is just very, very annoying. I might continue it at some point in the future, but not anytime soon. Another thing with Chinese, which is great. Oh, I don't understand what they're saying in this TV series. Let's put the subtitles on. Oh, it's in characters. I can't read the characters. And what do you have to do to get the characters? How do you find the characters? You have to actually write them. Which is hilarious. Like, you find a character you can't read, and you don't know how to say it, and you don't know what it means to understand what they're saying. So you go into a website where you draw the character. So say, like, this character. You go into a website where you draw the character, and then you select the character. Then you go into Google Translate to translate that character. And you wonder, like, why do you do this? Why don't you use an alphabet? Anyway, yeah, that's what learning Chinese is like, in my method anyway. Definitely not simple. It's not simple. The irony is Chinese is actually very simple in terms of grammar. The grammar of Chinese is extremely simple. Because it just has characters, so you can't add. I mean, that's why Japanese added their own alphabet to. They have the Chinese characters, and they annotate the grammar with Japanese writing. That's why they did it, because you can't change a character. How do you, if you, for example, have like, I needed, so we add an ending to make sure it's past tense. Can't do this in Chinese. It's a character. How do you add? You can't add anything to the word. So the grammar is very simple. It's simply they have a particle for complete, which means it's in the past, and then they just word order. If you want to say, for example, I love you. Yeah. So if you want to say I love you, it's 我爱你. And if you want to say you love me, it's 你爱我. So it's literally like there's no I, me, it's just I, and the word order gives you all the meaning. That's basically it. So the grammar in Chinese is extremely simple. The main problem is just knowing the compound words when they work together and being able to read and the tones. That's basically it. But I never really got that far because, again, it takes me like 20 minutes just to be able to actually read something. And then if I want to read something else, it's another 20 minutes just to be able to read something, just to even start to read it. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go do something else. Anyway, so there's just a random update. So I might make some random vlogs like this about languages and stuff like this. I also have programming channel. If anyone wants to see that, it's called Coding with Tom. I'll probably put it in a pinned comment. I also recently made a philosophy channel just because I like philosophy, find it interesting. It's just something it's just a way to kind of get my thoughts out. And plus, people generally don't know much about philosophy because it's really complicated. So I thought I would make a philosophy channel just to kind of teach people about it. If you find that interesting, there's probably, in the pinned comment. Anyway, thanks for watching. Probably see you guys soon when I make some random videos like this. Whatever. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.